Hello, I'm Casey Kasem, and you're listening to John Santo's The Radio right here on the Strong Island Radio Network, coming to you live from the Strong Island Studios in sunny Massapequa, New York. Now here's your host of the radio, John Santo. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of The Radio. I want to thank Donna Summer for doing that song for us, even though she passed away in 2012. I just realized I didn't get that memo. But my mother really enjoyed. I used to listen to her in the back of a 1970 something Mercury Monarch in AM radio. So all you millennials out there that have every song ever made on a little phone, I hate you, because I used to carry around CDs and Walkmans and all that stuff. Anyway. Enough about that. Welcome to John Santos the Radio. This week, my very special co-host is
Mr. Producer himself, StrongIsland.com CEO, Bobby La Serra.
We went right to the top this week.
We did.
You can't go any higher than that. If you have any complaints, they go to Bobby.
That's it. I'm here.
You don't go any higher.
We should just have a complaint show. Just send in your complaints, because I know we got plenty.
But the reason I mentioned that is because one time when I was in my aviation week days, I was having lunch with the CEO of Continental Airlines. I was at a big shindig at the Wings Club, and he was I got my boss and I were at his table, and somebody complained to him about something, and he was like, because the flight was delayed, but there was a safety issue with the plane. Mm-hmm. So he goes, the customer said, this isn't the way to treat your passengers. He goes, yes, it is, because we will not fly an unsafe airplane. So who's the guy complained to now? He just talked to the CEO.
That's right. There you go.
Can't elevate it.
Absolutely. Well,
so yeah, he was a good guy, that guy. Very nice, very interesting to talk to, very down to earth.
Nice. Considering
he's the CEO of an airline that they go up there,
Yeah, much higher than I am down here.
much. So actually, it's just funny. I just got a text from the Wall Street Journal as we're talking here about the change, how flying is going to change.
Oh yeah.
In the near and the long term, very strange situation, unprecedented. Now people are complaining about the middle seat. The people are, they were originally were not going to have the middle seat. Airlines aren't going to make money. If you think about the middle seat, that's 1/3 of the flight of the aircraft.
Absolutely.
So they're not going to make money with 66% capacity. So
yeah, and quite honestly, even taking out that middle seat, you're still 2 feet away from each other. So
from the person in the next aisle, the guy behind you.
What difference does it make? You're not 6 feet apart. Plus, you're in a contained space with the air circulating, sucking in the air and bringing it back in. The airplane itself, in general, is the most, the one place you're going to get sick, if anything.
Yep.
That recirculated air from all those people.
Recirculated air, and that's why when I win the lottery, I'm totally, I used to say, I'm not going to fly private. I'm flying private. I'm totally flying private. I don't care about the, what people think. I don't care about the environmental impact. I am not flying with people. I'm going to fly on my own plane. It doesn't have to be a big jet. I'm not going to go crazy.
This is you talking?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
After I win the Powerball.
Oh, okay. I forgot. Yeah.
I'm going to buy a share in NetJets, and I'm going to fly wherever.
Nice.
It'll be me, the pilots, and that's it. Nobody else.
Nice. So being in the the air industry, you spent a good part of your career in that. What does it cost for yearly? Because you got to get the plane, you got to have the facility to store it, and you got to have maintenance on it. What is something like that average cost for a person?
So, if you have like a little airplane, like, for pleasure flying and for point to point, I used to fly point to point in Cessnas. You're talking, I think a Cessna 172 is high 2s, low 3s to buy. Then you got hangar, you have tens of thousands of dollars in maintenance. And then I think an inspection, even if nothing is wrong, an inspection is going to run you, whatever, thousands.
So you gotta have a $500,000 for a first 2-3 years to be able to buy that and maintain it and use it.
Easy.
The fuel, everything.
Now, what a lot of people do is, let's say you and I are both pilots and we're going to share the plane. Chances are the plane is going to be sitting a lot. So people buy what's called a share. And it could be a 1/3, a half, a 1/6, an eighth, a 10th, a 12th, whatever it is. They have all these different, because some corporations do that. They might fly their own plane and then they sub it out to people that don't fly as often. Or what you can do is you can do net jets, which you pay like millions up front. And then let's say you want to go to Florida just yourself. You call them up and say, one passenger, this much luggage, cargo, whatever, going to Fort Lauderdale. They'll give you such and such a plane, unless you request something else. So they'll meet the plane to your need. Now you want to go 6 people. You want to go to Italy. You're going to go New York to Rome. They're going to give you a whole different airplane for that. They're going to give you probably a 737, a Boeing business jet, something like that, with bedrooms and stuff. That you could sleep overnight on the flight. All that kind of stuff. Yeah. So that's a cool way to go, because now you don't have to pay for all that. They do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Essentially you call them up and just say where you're going and when you go, and they assign you a charter.
Yeah. Yeah, the airline industry is definitely in for a questionable time. We need to fly, but it's like you can't survive as an airline with half the seating, or even for that matter 60-70% of the seating. You got to fill those seats. It's the same thing as a restaurant. People don't understand. They think restaurant owners are supposed to be, joyful that they can start bringing people back. But meanwhile, they got a facility that holds 20 tables. They literally have to space it out where they can only have 8 to 10 tables. They can't operate at 50% capacity. They need a restaurant. Needs 70% of their tables booked constantly to make a profit.
Make a profit, right?
So we got a few industries that are definitely going to be questionable. I mean, I don't know.
So the only thing they could do there is they'd have to have people eat a lot faster.
Yes.
So you'd have to, if you order ahead of time, the thing will get there. You got to eat and get out in 10 minutes.
I would say 45 minutes. You got to
boom. We got to turn the table.
Exactly.
And just say it's coronavirus. You don't have time to dilly dally with your phone. You can't be having extended conversations. This is cafeteria style now.
That's it.
Eat. Here's your chicken cordon bleu. Get the hell out. Oh, you're not finished? Eat it in the car. You got to get the hell out of here.
Exactly.
Because we have another group of people waiting. You can't be like, well, how much are you paying in? This is how much everybody owes. Figure it out when you get out.
That's it.
Get the hell out of it.
That's it. That's crazy.
That's actually a good bit. I can do a bit about that. I'll tell you something, though. I've been watching the posts on Facebook of my fellow comedian community, and people are very miserable. A lot of people... not only is there a desire to be on stage, to be in front of a crowd, but a lot of my friends, that's their only income source.
Yeah.
And they're 1099 a lot, so the unemployment thing is crazy. They're losing, and many of them make most of their living off of cruise ships, which who the hell knows what's going on with that industry?
Yeah. Yeah, anybody in event planning, DJs, entertainment, bands, like you said, a lot of musicians. This is what they do. They do. Yeah. They're out every weekend. So it's gonna be a while before entertainment industry is actually last on the list of businesses to bring back to normalcy. So it's gonna be a little bit different. So we'll see what we're in for.
Yeah. It's sad. I mean, it's like this thing has affected every industry, and there's no it's just a total, until there is some kind of biological solution, there is no economic or financial one. No. Or very, very limited, solutions. But some restaurants are still doing well. Like I went into town, Massapequa, I see some restaurants doing takeout. I got a Shrimpy's burrito bar. And they're doing very well. The times I go, I don't know how they're doing when I'm not there, but the times I go, they're doing very well.
Yeah, I think the restaurants that rely more on people coming in and sitting down and dropping
They're
that
having a hard time.
$100, sitting there for that
Right.
hour, dropping $100. But yeah, the smaller places that are doing takeout, they're probably, I'm sure they're taking a hit, but they're definitely at least bringing in something, you know.
Yeah, they have a model that can bring in some revenue at least.
Yeah,
while
but
this is going on.
I read an article. One restaurant owner published on Facebook the receipt from Grubhub, and they basically ended up taking 70% of everything. So they have all these fees, everything. He put it all down there, and he says everybody thinks we're doing great, but meanwhile it's the service companies, Grubhub and Uber Eats. They're taking over 60% of the profit.
That's insane.
Yeah, and I know the guy down here. I mean, we're talking the other day. He says I'm lucky if I'm doing 50% of what I was doing. I mean, it's great that I'm doing something, but I'm not making as much as I usually do. So it's nice to see people be able to resume something, but they're really not where they were.
I don't like those service. I get the traditional pizza delivery from the regular guy, the pizza parlor employee, and then I go pick up the stuff. A lot of them do curbside.
Yeah.
My deli, I either call or I go on the internet and I order and I go pick it up. They come right after you call it.
Yeah.
So I don't have to go in. In fact, I actually like it better. It's kind of nice. So I don't have to go out and do it.
I know.
But so I try to help. I try to do that. And but like people like my daughter ordered something from Amazon. Right? We have the Prime. It's supposed to come in 2 days.
Yeah.
It took a long time. It took over a week.
Mm.
And she's like, I'm like, Lauren, who cares? Like I order. People are complaining about that on Facebook, like in the moms groups.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care when it comes. If it comes in a week, like I don't need it now. Like I need it, but I don't need it. Like when it comes, doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're just so spoiled. We're so spoiled.
We're so spoiled
with
but like,
everything.
Don't complain. The Amazon workers are working their asses off. They're getting sick.
Yeah.
When it comes, it comes.
Yeah.
And the thing with the sunlight, though, did you see the thing with the sunlight kills it? And
I heard that I heard that like a month or so ago. They were noticing that the sunlight kills it, and obviously warmer temperatures and lower temperatures actually, destroy it. But I did hear the sunlight actually it can't survive. Something happens with the sunlight; it burns it out.
So I leave my surgical mask on the dash of the car, and I just let the sun, hit it. I put my change. If I get if I go to Dairy Bar and get milk, I get dollars. I put them on the dash, let the sun hit it. That's why I've been doing all my shopping during the daylight hours. and I leave it outside in the back. I let the sun hit it. They said 77 degrees. They're looking at if that's the magic number of it can't survive, or at least it goes way down over 77. So if you're going to reopen the stores, why not just keep them at 77 degrees?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if that's true, I don't know if that's the thing. But if it is, it is. Have you been watching the Como briefings, those marathons?
I do. I haven't been watching it every day. Initially, I was watching it every day, but I've been watching maybe every other day. I kind of check in and check in on him. Yeah, I've
been doing him a lot.
I knew you've been getting better. I heard you last week. You actually you started to really nail him, so that's good.
Thank you.
Yep.
I did him as the Mets manager. I did a video where I talk, and I actually gave a little bit about analytics, because people are always asking me, "Hey Santo, what's analytics mean? What is the?" So I'm always trying. I always have that generic voice of the person that always asks me those questions.
Yeah.
Hey Santo, what about analytics, Santo? Tell me about that.
He sounds like a generic dumb guy.
It's a generic dumb guy, and but one of my friends is just like he's an asshole. But anyway, he's always asking me about that. Hey, tell me about this analytics thing. I love when he says thing. Like 20 years ago, he used to go, "Hey Santo, get on that internet thing and tell me what that internet thing." I'm like, but anyway, so he was asking about analytics. So I did a thing with Como, and basically what I said was, if I have a runner on first base and there's one out, it's the top of the ninth. We're ahead by a run. The analytics say to put on the shift. I have to hold the runner for first base, And I did a whole thing about that because the fans all think that they understand the game.
Yeah.
You know, like the fans, they don't understand. Like when I tell people that every Major League Baseball game generates 7 terabytes of data, and a laptop ships with my laptop has 1 terabyte of data of storage.
Yeah.
One game is 7 times the size of my laptop.
And when you say
what
is that information? That's the audio and the video, everything. Because you're talking about how long is a baseball game? It's like 4 or 5 hours, right?
Could be, yeah. So they measure the spin rate of the ball, right? They have radars all over the place, so they're measuring the ball 20,000 times a second. So they're taking this pixelated frame radar of the ball so that they can see if the pitcher's, what the spin rate is of the ball as it approaches the plate. They know the velocity of the ball when it leaves the hand, the velocity of the ball when it reaches the plate. They know the launch angle of the hits. They know all this stuff. But that's that's the radar part of it, right? So what is that actually generating data? So let's say you're the batter. I know that you are, let's say I'm going to make you a good hitter. Maybe you're a 325 hitter, right? But in certain situations, in certain ballparks, or against certain pitchers, then we're looking at very specific, detailed information about you, right? So we know how to pitch to you. Hey, Bobby's a 325 hitter, but when we pitch him inside, he's a 500 hitter. When we pitch him outside, he's lower. If we do, and they break up the strike zone into like all these different spaces. It's not just 9 boxes. They have a lot of detail as to where to pitch. They also look at all kinds of stats. Like if you look at where the guy hits, where does the guy hit on an 0-0 count versus an 0-1, an 0-2, 3-2, 2-2. All that changes. So they have all this detail. They actually have so much information, it's hard to make a decision.
So who's doing that? Who's collecting all that data? Is that the league or the individual teams are collecting their own data for their own purposes?
Both. So what happens is the data will come in and analysts have to pour through first they have to manipulate the data to make it usable because it comes in a very raw format. So the data, they have to, I do that stuff. I program code to change things. Like, let's say you give me like data. I have an Excel sheet from you. I have an Excel sheet from somebody else. I pull it off out of a database for another source, and I join it all together. I have to have the right join. What common link do I have? Maybe it's a date. You put the dates in Excel, with the slash. Another guy uses dashes. The formats are different. You have the time that something happened. The other guy just has the date. I have to go through that and make that all the same. It could be as simple as, if you had a list of countries, there's only, 200 some odd countries in the world, right? How hard could that be? Some people, your worksheet says the Netherlands, mine says Netherlands. How are we going to match those up? That kind of thing. It's as simple as that. I write United States, you put USA. Those aren't going to match.
Okay, so everybody there has to be an
it either has to be standard, or somebody has to clean up all that stuff before you can start to analyze it. And then you get all these complex, even what they're doing with coronavirus. There's very complex stuff that goes in there, but it's a very boring field.
Yeah, numbers is boring anyway.
Numbers is boring. That's what I do. That's what I do during the day. That's why I can't wait to get back on stage because it's exciting.
Well, that's why you live your life through other characters because
that's right.
Because your life sucks.
I'm boring. Well, no, I actually find analytics exciting. But when I tell my wife about my day, she's
I don't blame her.
She's like, but it's exciting. But when I show somebody, like if I go into somebody's office, like friends of mine, I'm like, what's stressing you out about this? And I fix. What used to take them 6 hours to update a week, I do for them literally in under a minute. Literally under a minute. My friend was working on this worksheet and she had to do all this stuff in 6 hours. Now she does it. Now she clicks one button and it's done in 1 minute.
Wow. Yep.
Actually, 57 seconds, but who's counting?
Technology.
So what do you think of the Como had his mother on the other day?
I did not see that.
Oh, man, it was, come on. He's like, I want to put my mother on the show, and we're going to talk about Matilda. And they had the grandchildren, and they're all sharing their family thing together. You know, I'm like, please, what the hell is
Well,
that?
because you know why he's doing that, because people are loving that. People are loving that. The family thing on there. He's bringing his mom on.
It's too much.
His brother got infected. You know, they love that. He's using it. He's not a stupid man. He's using that to his advantage.
He's totally using it to cover up all the mistakes he made with the nursing homes.
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody loves this guy now. Everybody's talking about his future, but lately I've been hearing about this little thing going on with the the senior citizen places and the nursing homes.
There's no escaping that. He had 2,000 beds at the Javits Center he could have sent the nursing home patients to.
Yeah,
and I wanted an answer as to why that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember when it first we need to have the federal government to help build us beds. He had all that capacity.
And what? And then they never got used at all?
Never.
So
the Comfort treated a couple of dozen people. They were nowhere near capacity. Now that's good. Thank God they didn't have to use that. But why didn't you isolate the nursing home people there? If they tested positive, why did you put them back in the nursing home to infect? I know several people personally that lost parents or grandparents in nursing homes.
So
why the hell didn't he put them in the Javits Center?
Well, he put them back in there after they were tested, and they, in other words, they quarantined them and put them back in the nursing home. Is that what happened? I haven't really been following it too much.
They tested positive, and he forced them to go back into the nursing home.
Okay, gotcha.
Even though they were confirmed COVID-19 positive.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Terrible.
I don't understand. When you had the capacity at the Javits Center, why wouldn't you just put the COVID patients there?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Where you have the medically trained people. What's a nursing home? How are they going to treat a COVID patient?
No, they can't.
They have the medical experts right there. The Army built the whole hospital in the convention, which was great. You know, that was a good use of that space. But I don't get it.
Yep.
I don't get it. Well, you know who's playing Dr. Fauci? There's a new movie coming out.
Okay.
Can we go to commercial for the? Can we do the movie commercial?
Yeah, we have it. I got it in the system here.
Right there.
All right, go ahead. I'll play it right now.
Here we go.
All right.
Coming next November, Al Pacino plays Dr. Fauci in If You Can Smell the Scent of a Woman, You're Not Socially Distancing, with Al Pacino as Dr. Fauci. This virus is bad. It started in Wuhan, China, and then it spread quickly to Europe. We need to shut down the flights, stop the virus, flatten the curve. And with Robert De Niro as another doctor. Let me tell you something. We gotta flatten that curve. We gotta get that curve down. We gotta get it down. We gotta get it down now. Get it down. Get it down. Pacino, De Niro, Pacino. If You Can Smell the Scent of a Woman, You're Not Socially Distancing. Coming this fall.
Nice. That sounds
picture.
Really interesting. I mean, I could almost see Arnold Schwarzenegger acting as the governor, you know, or the president or something like that, overseeing everything. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely. My fellow Americans, this virus is a son of a bitch. And we're going to put all of the tools that we have to fight this bastard virus. And we're going to kill that son of a bitch. I've killed the Predator monster. I've killed all of these terrorists. I've killed all these. I even fought the devil in the End of Days movie. So I am equipped to handle this situation. And we're going to put everything we have on it. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. Even getting like I'm curious to see if like what would Sylvester Stallone play in this movie, combating the virus.
Oh, you know, we as governor of Philadelphia, mayor of Philadelphia, you know, we have a responsibility. You know, I've been in the ring. I fought things, but I can't fight this. I never seen nothing like it. You know. Nothing like it.
That's good. I like that. That's putting
gotta
all
write
those
that down. I
people.
even
Yeah,
think
yeah.
of Stallone for the picture. Stallone.
You got Schwarzenegger as the president of the United States, the federal government. Then you got Sylvester Stallone as the mayor of Philadelphia.
Mayor of Philadelphia.
There you go.
You know, I wanted those two to make an action movie together. They waited till, you know, in the 80s, they could have both been like special forces colonels that are on a hostage rescue mission, you know, and they would instantly have some kind of like history.
Yeah, but do
It's
you know
like-
you know that they hated each other?
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
I could have written that. So I could have written that movie.
They
right?
there was
They're
a
both
a huge competition between those two.
huge.
And they
were-
ended up now they're actually really good friends, and they look back and they say that they were, you know, they were like just rooting against each other, sabotaging each other,
Right.
finding out what movies they were taking, trying to, you know, and yeah, it was I didn't know that they had that big rivalry going on for quite a long time, those two.
big rivalry. In fact, I'm going to do another preview. You ready?
Mhm.
All right, hold on. Got to get the music. There we go.
Coming this summer, Delta Force 2, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Colonel. All right, we know where the hostages are. We have to mount a rescue mission, get the hell in there, get them, and then get the hell out of there. With Sylvester Stallone as the other Colonel. All right, my team is going to blow the roof. What are you guys going to do? I'm going to walk right through the front door. But make sure your ass is at the rendezvous point. I leave you in the desert. All right, we'll be there. Delta Force 2, coming this summer. The 80s tough guys are back.
Like, it's not hard. I just did that off the top of my head in 2 seconds. You know, if I had like an hour, I could have written the whole movie.
Yeah. What are we gonna do about the movie? What's gonna go on with the movies? There ain't gonna be any movie theaters, I don't think, this summer. So
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I think, first of all, I'm not going back to the movies.
yeah.
I 2 years ago, I upgraded. I had an old TV for the longest time. I had a 27-inch Trinitron. Remember that sucker? And I had a freaking the Sony. I got it as a hand-me-down from my brother because he bought a real TV, right? My wife, she's like, "I'll take your Betty's TV." 250-pound TV, right? It was so old. It was like small too, so old that I saw TVs that people threw out that were like 6 generations better than the one I was watching. You know, people. So I said, "That's it. We're good." So I bought a 65-inch flat screen. You know how much I paid for it? The same that I paid for that 27-inch Trinitron 18 years prior. So I went deluxe. I don't want to leave my house. I go downstairs into my fan cave. I got the recliner. What am I going to sit next to somebody to movie for?
That's nice. Yeah.
I'll wait for it to come out. You know, on the video.
Yeah. On the video.
On the video. What do I got to go to a movie theater for?
No, I know.
I got the theater in the house.
That's nice.
But you know who was going to talk about annoying Facebook stuff? Mike Francesa. You know Mike Francesa, right, our friend?
Yeah, I'm not.
From the
You know,
Fan.
I'm not a big fan of sports radio, but I do know who he is.
You know Mike Francesa. He's been on our show before.
Yeah. He's been on a few
Yeah,
times.
you know Mike.
Yeah.
Let me see. I got to make sure I got the right music now. There we go. There he is, Mike Francesa. Hello, Mike. Welcome to the radio. Hi, guys. How are you, Bobby? It's so nice to be back on Strong Island Radio. This is my favorite radio station. This is the best. This is unbelievable, this radio station.
Thank you.
It's absolutely unbelievable. So, Bobby, have you seen on Facebook? There are such annoying things on Facebook. It's become so annoying. Like, beyond annoying. The avatars. Have you seen the avatars that people are doing on Facebook?
Yeah, I just started seeing that. Yeah.
It started, I think, what's today? Monday. Saturday, I started seeing them. Or maybe Sunday. Maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. I'm not watching any sports, so it's hard to keep track of the days. They're pretty annoying. They got annoying real quick. It's like all of a sudden something is new, and like 6 hours later, it's annoying.
So, how do you feel about sports coming back without the fans, Mike?
It's going to be a totally different dynamic, especially in the NFL. It's going to be quiet. I mean, they're going to have to pump crowds cheering into the stadiums. because, or at least on the TV broadcast, 'cause it's going to look ridiculous. Like imagine, although it could be different because you're going to hear now all the play calling that you couldn't hear before. If they keep the same audio, maybe they'll change. I don't know what they're going to do with the audio, but it's going to be interesting because you're going to hear a lot more things that you never heard. I mean, when I went to a Ducks game, I was in like the front row because the tickets there are like, very cheap. And we heard the infielders talking to each other because we were the only, like, there were like 5 fans left in the stadium. And we stayed till the end. It was like a blowout. The Ducks won, like, I don't know. But it was fascinating to hear all the conversations that take place among the infielders. Like, we were talking about analytics. Oh, he's going to pitch him inside. Get over here. They know what's happening when the fans don't. So that's going to be interesting.
So what have you been doing? What have you been talking about lately with no sports going on?
I've been watching a lot of documentaries on History Channel. I'm a big history buff. And I saw a thing on the stealth bomber. You know what's fascinating about the stealth bomber? So people were saying, well, how could the enemy fire on the stealth bomber if it's stealth? Well, it's stealth going into the target. But once the bombs go off, the enemy knows there's a plane because they just got bombed. Okay? There's something in the air. So they're going to start firing anti-aircraft. They might get lucky and hit it, maybe. But there's no secret that there's a bomber. They just got bombed. So no secret there. A lot of fake jerseys coming from China. Have you seen the people wearing the fake jerseys, Bobby?
No, I haven't. And enough with things coming from China. Why can't we make these things ourselves, Mike? I don't get it.
I don't understand, but I mean, the baseball jerseys are made here in the United States. They're made in Pennsylvania, okay, near the Crayola factory. Great trip, Eastern Pennsylvania, Crayola factory. My favorite color is blue. There's a gigantic blue crayon that weighs like 3,000 million pounds. I don't know. It's a huge crayon. And here's what the Crayola company did. They had little kids send in, like when you use a crayon, there's like this much left, like a little bit. They had all these kids send it in, and they melted all those crayons down. They re-dyed them blue because that was the most popular color. And then they made this like crayon that's like, I don't know, a couple 100 pounds. It's huge. It's a gigantic crayon. It's like 20 feet long. But I'm like, Crayola really had to bother with all these kids? Couldn't they just make the friggin' thing? Like, why did they have to bother with all these kids? So my wife said, oh, but it's cute. The kids got to be a part of it. Who cares? Just make the crayon.
What are the kids going to say? Oh, my crayon's in there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is my crayon. That's my piece right there. just below the label. That's me. I mean, it was all melted down. It's all mixed in. I mean, I guess it was like kind of cute, but it's a money. But everything there, like all the shirts you can buy, you buy a blue shirt, yellow shirt, red shirt, all the different kinds. And I like the box of 64 with the stadium seating. Basically that those are, I mean, you open up that box and they're all lined up, but you don't even want to use them. It's art just looking at the tips ready to go.
Nice.
The 64 with the built-in sharpener in the back.
Very good.
Built-in sharpener. But a lot of fake jerseys, Bobby, coming from China because those jerseys, how much you think a Major League Baseball jersey, an authentic jersey costs?
For retail or to make?
Both.
Well, I know a authentic hockey jersey could be, close to $100, if I remember correctly. A real one with the fight strap and everything, an authentic one. So yeah, imagine a regular. I mean, what is a regular like Mets jersey? That's got to be $50, right? Somewhere around there.
And so the replica jerseys are in the $100 range.
The replicas. The authentic NFL jerseys and MLB jerseys. I hope you're sitting down. I can see you sitting down. I'm sitting.
Sitting down. They're over $350.
Oh my God.
So people are buying these Chinese ones for like $50. But who the hell knows what they're putting in them?
They're probably pre-shipped with Corona.
It could have coronavirus.
Well, or lead. Maybe just some lead. I don't know if you remember this, but back in the days, the Chinese, they were putting lead in all our children's toys. Like we were buying all these children toys from China, and meanwhile they're totally covered in lead. Like
Totally from China, lead.
I don't listen. I have no problem with Chinese people in general, but the Chinese government, man, they are a crazy bunch of people.
They are poisoning us.
They're trying to
with
kill
all this
us.
crap.
Absolutely.
With the lead paint, and who the hell knows what their standards, safety standards are? You know, I talk to a lot of people, industry after industry, and they're all saying, you know, the quality isn't the quality. I just make the stuff here.
Exactly.
Even if it's more, we got to redo this economy. Figure out a way to make it work with tax breaks, and it'll generate more economic activity here. But you know what? We're so dependent on them that, you know, this is a communist country. You've got all kinds of disputes with them territorially all over the world. If they're making 97% of our antibiotic pharmaceuticals, what are you going to do if you're getting into an armed conflict with them?
It's crazy. And I don't know if you heard this, but when all this started happening, they ordered from the United States, from 3M, do all these companies that make all the masks and the PPE equipment. They ordered all of it from the United States. Mm-hmm. And we noticed after the fact that the exports going to China were going up, and the imports coming in from China were going down.
Yes.
And then
it takes time to see that.
Yes,
you don't
exactly.
See that immediately.
And we noticed that they were ordering all the masks, and that's why everybody was saying, "Well, why do we have to get the masks from China?" Because China bought all the masks that we had in production right before they publicized this crap. They bought all the PPE equipment, and then when we found out about it, we didn't have any.
Yep.
Like, I mean, that's evil. That's evil. That's pure evil.
Well, on the one hand, I could kind of. So let's say we knew that they were getting that they needed PPE. On the one hand, if you know there's an outbreak, you want to help the area with the outbreak to contain it, right? So there is a logical reason. But on the other side, you also have to make sure you have enough to deal with it if it gets here.
Well, absolutely. That's where the dishonesty came in. They weren't saying anything. They were just ordering it and not saying anything, you know? And a lot of weird stuff that happened over there. You know, a lot of like doctors and scientists who came out and spoke out about it are to this day, nobody knows where they are.
Nope.
I mean, there's actually, I think, something that happened in Russia where these doctors were thrown out of buildings.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like they said something, and then all of a sudden they find them out of the building. What happened to this doctor? Why did this doctor jump out of the building? He was fine. All of a sudden, it's like I don't know.
It's like The Sopranos when they were pushing Wabbistics. It's like it's like Wabbistics, push Wabbistics. I'm giving them alternatives. It has a crappy balance sheet. That's not this is the stock Wabbistics. You know, they were just pushing the stock, and they were bullying them into saying things that weren't, you know, professionally true or ethical.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need Tony, a guy like Tony Soprano, to take over this whole freaking battle against COVID-19. That's what we need.
Wear a mask or wear a cast.
That's what we need. You know how, like, listen, in India, they're like arresting people and throwing them out of the streets into their houses, and you know we need a strong arm, man. You know, send all these protesters who are going out and protesting without masks and they want everything opened up. Send Tony and the boys to visit the protest.
Yep.
You know.
This thing with the masks, no good. You got to put a mask. But there's things that other countries can do, even South Korea, democracies, we can't do in this country. Like all of these things that the governors are saying that didn't pass, that didn't go through the legislatures, I am going to be amazed, I think, when you start to see the court decisions on this. The legal implications of these are amazing. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's going to be cases about this for years to come.
Oh, yeah. This is uncharted.
Because none of these things were passed by the legislatures and then signed by the executive. The executives are just out there doing whatever the hell they want. Now, I'm not saying it's not necessary to issue these things. But like with the tennis, right? They just reopened the tennis courts. And you're allowed to – you can kick the balls over to somebody else. You're allowed to kick somebody's balls but not touch their balls. Kick their balls is fine, but not touching them.
I don't know. Me personally, I'd rather have my balls touched than kick.
That's right.
You know?
But like they said, no doubles, right? They said that singles only, right? Now, I play doubles with my wife and my 2 kids. We're all in the same house. I don't care what the executives say. There's no reason why we can't play doubles together. We're in the same house.
You just got to stay.
In the same car.
You got to stay in your square. Just don't go out of your little square.
We'll stay on our court, and if our balls go somewhere else, kick my balls back to me.
Yeah.
I use cheap practice balls anyway when I play with them, so if I lose a couple of balls, it's not going to make a difference. But we're going to play like we always play. There's no reason not to. I understand you don't want like you, me, 2 other guys from different houses showing up to play doubles, but there's no reason why a whole family of 4 can't play doubles together.
Yeah, I agree.
And we're going to play. And you know what? What are they going to say? If anybody, they're going to say, "Oh my God, that's John Santo. Leave him alone." You know, he's on the radio.
He's on the radio. Absolutely. He's got the ¡1 radio show on that Strong Island network in his time slot.
On Mondays.
Yeah.
At 9. Oh my God, we can't. We wouldn't dare. It's John Santo.
No, come on. You don't want to risk that negative publicity on his show. I mean, everybody's listening to it at that time. Forget about it.
Do you think that this show can get me out of jury duty when the courts are back in session? Is this show like big enough for me? I think so. I think I could get out of jury duty.
I think you should try.
I'm going to say, "Hi, I'm John Santo, star of the radio. We got to be out of court at a certain time because I got to get to the studio, do the show."
All you got to do is somehow say something that you're very opinionated, and you're gonna share your opinion on the radio show.
I'll show up in a Trump wig with my Trump 2020 hat.
I went to jury duty once, and I waited, and they asked me a question, and they were like, "Okay, so the case is about somebody who was walking in a supermarket, and they slipped and they fell, and they're suing the market." And I was like, you know what? People need to look where they're going, instead of just walking.
Right.
And they were like, "Okay, thank you very much." And I was out of there. You just got to know what to say.
I will just say to the judge, "Excuse me, you're a so-called judge, and I can't serve. I'm the president of the United States." They might think I'm insane. Okay. I got to buy a Trump 2020 hat just in case. And although I'm up this year. I am, because it's every 6 years. Because I served in 2014 last. Yeah, I'm up.
Speaking of Trump, can we get him on the line? Because I'm curious to see how he feels about the overall battle against COVID-19, how it's going, and I'd like to ask him a few questions.
Mr. President, are you there?
Hello, Bobby. Hello, John. Of course I'm here. I've been listening to the show. I listen every week. It's a terrific show, the best show. You guys have done things with the radio that nobody's ever seen because they don't see it. They hear it. It's on the radio.
Thank you. It's awesome, Mr. President, that you had the time to call in and talk to us. And I was just wondering, so how do you think the battle is going against COVID-19? Are you pleased? Are you anxious? Do you feel confident? What's on your mind?
Well, first of all, Bobby, no other president has done this good of a job with COVID-19. Okay, no president has done what I've done with COVID-19. Nobody's done it. We are getting tests out there. I have more COVID-19 tests than all the other presidents combined. Okay, that's a fact. I have done more testing than all the other presidents combined. I have more tests than the other presidents combined. I have saved more lives than all the other presidents combined, COVID-19. We're doing very well. I think it's going to be terrific. We have a long way to go, but we're doing great.
And how is I know you had some of your aides or people that are around you actually did test positive. Is you and your family healthy? And is Milana, just out of curiosity, where is Milana? We haven't seen her lately. Is she okay? How's things going for Milana and your son?
Melania is terrific. She just turned 50. Hard to believe. I mean, she's
beautiful. Beautiful woman.
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Just turned 50. Can't believe it. And she's doing terrific. And let me tell you something. Some people have tested positive, but not me, because I'm very strong. My immune system is stronger than anybody. And when I tested negative for coronavirus, the doctors couldn't believe how good the test was. They said, we've never seen a test like this in a president. Nobody's ever seen this. Your nostrils are totally free of coronavirus. It's unprecedented. So we're doing well.
Very good, very good. So, do you think we'll be back to normal soon? What are your expectations when we can get back and start doing business and getting some normalcy back in our lives?
I think very soon. We're waiting just for a couple of more metrics, and hopefully very soon we're going to get back. And we got to see what we're going to do. I mean, the next time we have a pandemic like this and starts in, this one started, of course, in China. Okay, Wuhan, China. And then Italy got hit very badly because they let people in from China. I didn't let anybody in. I should have shut down all the air travel. That's the only thing I regret doing. Not doing. Because look what New Zealand did and Australia. Nobody in. Nobody. Nobody came in. They have a lot of students that come from China. Didn't allow them in. So they stopped the spread by isolation. That's what every country should have just halted all travel. And we would have contained it better. It's common sense.
Kind of supports your whole theory with the wall. Like maybe we should have, built that wall completely around the United States.
Completely. Look, we could still. The thing is, with these ports of entry, we can still let people in when we want, but we can control when they come in. So when you have a pandemic or you have a problem, you can still come in. I want people to come, but go through a port of entry. I get upset when I go to a country. I love getting my passport stamped, and they're not doing that anymore. So I like going through the port. Even if I could go into a country without going through the port, I want to get a passport stamp. I think if they bring the passport stamps back, people will be like, oh, let me go through the port because I want the stamp, because it's a nice souvenir. Oh, look, this is when I came into this country.
It's kind of like when people used to put the bumper stickers on their car of all the places that they visited.
Exactly. And this one doesn't ruin your paint. You just put it on the passport. I have every passport that I've ever had because I like all the countries. I have all the stamps, and they change. Some of the stamps are very nice.
What was the favorite country that you visited? What do you enjoy?
Not China. Not China. I think my favorite country visited was. That's a good question. I have to think about that. I'm trying to think electorally. What's the best answer? I would say who's my biggest donor? Japan. I would say Japan was my favorite country. I'm kidding. I like all the countries. I love everybody. All the countries are terrific, except the United States is the best. But after that, they're all terrific.
Awesome. Well, Mr. President, I just want to thank you for calling in, and I think you're doing a great job, and we appreciate what you've done, because you definitely have done more with COVID-19 than any other president in the history. So we recognize
no other
that.
president has delivered as many COVID-19 tests as I have. Nobody. That's a fact. And even the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi with her refrigerator and her ice cream, even she has to admit that's the case.
That's the facts. Thank you for calling in, and good luck.
You're welcome, guys. I got to send out like 400 tweets, so I got to run.
How cool is that? I can get him anytime we want.
The relationship that you have with him is just phenomenal. It really is.
I have it with all the presidents. I mean, if you told me you want to talk to Obama, I hit a button, Obama's on the phone. I mean, I've been a presidential, historian for a long time, so.
Yeah. I wonder, if Ronald Reagan was around during this time, how do you think that he would react to this pandemic?
Let's ask him.
We can bring him on the phone?
I got him. I just dialed into heaven. He's right here. Mr. President, it's John Santo. How are you, sir?
Well, it's nice to be back on the radio with Bobby. Hello, Bobby.
How are you doing, Mr. President? It's awesome to have you on the radio with John Santo and myself. And we were talking. We were curious. How do you feel about this pandemic that we're going through? Do you think our president is doing a good job? Is there anything that you would do differently? How do you feel about it?
Well, I don't like to say about other presidents, but if I was still in charge, I would have a great speech. I'd be wearing a cardigan, probably by a fireplace, and I would say, well, my fellow Americans, we need to be strong and we need to wear masks. And I think that that's the way to go. And, you know, I was never, I would say, let's win this one for the Gipper. That's what I would say, for the Gipper.
Well, that's a very calming message. You have a very calming presence, a very calming voice, which is a lot different than what we're experiencing now with our current president. So we appreciate that. That's a nice feeling. It makes us feel assured. So
thank you for saying that, because I can be very calming. Let's say I had a speech all worked out in case the country was attacked by Soviet nuclear missiles, and this was my speech. My fellow Americans, unfortunately, we've lost some major population centers, and most of our military was wiped out. However, we do have the submarines, and we are prepared and are initiating currently a massive retaliatory strike upon the Soviet Union. We're going to drop so many nuclear weapons on them that it'll probably shift the orbit of this planet. And it might get cold, it might get hot. We'll see. But we will win, even though we've lost many cities and many other metropolitan areas. Good night, God bless, and good luck.
Like, he could even make that comment.
yeah, that's exactly, you know.
Half the country's gone. It was like Morgan Freeman in Deep Impact. We are making preparations to save the United States and the world from the comet. You need a guy like that.
Yeah, you do. Well,
excuse me.
I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah,
I hope that this this vaccine that they said showed promise. They only tested 45 people. So one of my friends who's like a nitpicker, she's like, "Ew, they only tested 45 people. That's not a scientific sample." Yeah, but the good news, it's not a scientific sample. You need more. But all 45 showed antibodies. So 100% of a small sample showed promising reactions to the antibodies. I'm sorry, to the vaccine. They developed the antibodies. So if that holds throughout the testing, as they get more people, then that'll be promising. Here's what bothers me about these groups that they're using. They did a placebo study on remdesivir, I think was one of the drugs they tried, right? And they showed a significant number of people did better with the drug. Like, they cut down, I think by a third, Dr. Fauci said, the symptoms, or the duration of the infection, but versus the placebo group. But wait a second. They told them they were giving them a life-saving coronavirus drug, and it was a sugar pill. What if they died? What if I think I'm getting the cure and I'm the placebo guy? Did they tell the placebo guy they're getting the placebo?
You're supposed to tell them that they're part of a study and certain amount are getting the real drug, but you have to tell them that there's a chance that you may not be getting the real thing.
There's a 50% chance. I want the drug.
You have to make that aware that there's a 50% chance you may have the placebo or the other one. Oh, I don't know.
How do I make sure I'm in the non-placebo group? I want to be in the group that gets the drug.
Yeah, no, I don't know how that works. Yeah, because people who have were told that they were given the real drug actually were given the placebo.
The placebo,
and they actually were healed because they thought they were getting the real drug.
Right, and that's great in theory. Like when you read that in a paper. Right. This is why I do in-depth reporting on the show, because the media totally just reported this. They said, well, this group that had the drug did better than the group that had the placebo. Now, I immediately thought, what is it like to be that placebo guy? So they tell me I'm getting a drug. I'm like, oh, my God, I might have a chance. And it's a sugar pill. Now, what if some of them died?
Yeah,
and they might have been helped.
Yeah, giving a placebo in a life and death situation isn't such a good idea.
It's like, well, we're not going to do CPR on this guy, but we're going to do it on this guy.
That's like saying, oh, we're testing out this new parachute. You may have the real parachute. You may have the fake.
Right, you may have the fake. You may have the one that we didn't sew.
Exactly. We
used tape to stitch it.
We had 10 were sewed in China and 10 were sewed in America.
Which one do you want? Well, we have this great new thing like this car. We're gonna do these airbags, but your car, we're gonna turn off the airbag just to see if there's
Seriously, could you imagine like anybody who was buying a parachute or some sort of safety device, and they said, okay, we got this one is made in America and this one's made in China right now.
Yep.
Nobody taking a chance on the Chinese product.
Let me tell you how stupid this is. Why I have no faith in the government, right? Well, I was flying with my boss one time in a Beechcraft Bonanza, right? We're flying down to Florida. Normally, when we fly to Florida, I love to fly down the Florida coast because there's airport after airport along the east coast of Florida. Beautiful. You see the surf, you see the land. It's gorgeous. Flying near Cape Canaveral. I mean, not right near, but you can still see the launch pad.
Mm-hmm.
It's airport after airport. If we have an inflated problem with the single engine, we're going to land at one of those airports.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's airports up and down the coast. Well, one time we did a direct GPS out of South Carolina. We landed at Hilton Head, got gas, ate lunch, and then did a direct GPS towards Fort Lauderdale, Miami area. We're way the hell off the coast because, Florida, the curves in or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now the coast is way the hell over to my right. Now I'm sitting to my boss. I'm like, why are we so far off the coast? He's like, we're going direct GPS. I said, okay, great. Why don't we talk about the raft? Just in case we have to ditch, tell me where it is. I'll get the raft, because you can only go out the Bonanza on my side, the co-pilot side. There's only one door, right? So I have to get out first. So I figure I'll deploy the raft, hop in the raft, then I'll get him in the raft. He goes, oh, no, I don't have a raft. I said, you don't have a raft? Why? We're flying over water. Because you don't need it unless you're 50 miles or more. Is that stupid? Can you swim 49 miles?
No, but maybe you have more of a chance being brought in shore rather than going out to sea if you're within the 50 miles. I don't know. 50 miles is a long distance.
That's 50 miles.
I don't know if you're going to make it.
You'll freeze to death in the water. The water's cold out there.
Oh, yeah.
Plus you got sharks. I want to have a raft. You're going to have a raft. You could be out there for days.
Yeah.
50 miles. I mean, Roy Scheider and Matt Hooper did it. What's his name? In Jaws, they paddled in at the end. Not Matt Hooper. Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah, Richard Dreyfuss.
How did they know there was only one shark? I always wondered that. They said, oh, Brody, it probably is the shark. It probably is. How did they know it's one shark?
Well, apparently it wasn't, because Jaws 2, there was another one.
Yes. Well, Jaws 2, the first two, then he electrocuted the shark with that power cable.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
Was 2?
That was 2. And what did he fall into after the shark came up? He dropped into what? A raft.
Mm. All right, so the first one, they put the tanks and they shot and they blew them up pretty much. The second one was the electrical cable. I don't think I saw 3.
Now, 3 was the 3D one that sucked, and Jaws 4, that sucked even more.
I didn't see that.
But the Schwarzenegger would have been good for Chief Brody, because when the shark was coming at him, he would have the gun, right? But his would be like fully, it wouldn't just be a one shot, fully automatic, and he would have said, smile, you son of a bitch, and he would have blown the shark out of the water.
I think Arnold Schwarzenegger could probably play just about every role and make it work.
Absolutely.
No matter what.
Like Luke Skywalker, you're my father. Get the hell out of here, you son of a bitch. You're my father. He would have been great.
Oh my God, he could play anything. That guy.
He literally could play anything. He literally could. Well, I just looked at the time. It's 10 o'clock.
I know. I just did too. Yep.
I just did too. Bobby, I'm only going to do a half-hour show tonight.
Yeah. No, I knew that. If you were by yourself, yeah. But I once I got on with you, it was all right.
It's better. It's so much better with another person. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I don't mind doing it. Whenever you need somebody, you just let me know. I'm here.
Yeah, you know what it was? I didn't book the show for this week. And I hate to call somebody up because I forgot to book the show. Because then they feel like they're the B guest at the wedding.
Yeah.
All my friends are very important people. I want them to, I want to be professional and book them in advance. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I have somebody cancel and I have to book last minute. That happens. But I like to, what I should do? I should actually come up with a list probably in advance of people and then just try to jockey the weeks around.
Yeah, well, you should write a list, but you should work it month by month. So you should just take the month of June
right.
and set up your 4 guests.
Right. I'm trying to. Are you going to be? Are we going to have a show next Monday for Memorial Day?
I've always done shows on Memorial Day, so yeah. I mean, it's up to you. I mean,
Yeah. We'll do a special one. Maybe we'll do a shorter show next week.
yeah. I mean, honestly, at 9 o'clock at night, by that time during this quarantine crap, I think everybody's going to be home and
Everybody
and
be home
done.
anyway. They might actually really. You know what, the radio might have to be there for them.
Yeah.
So that they have something to listen to.
I think the radio is important for people.
The radio is important. And next week we'll go to Brent Nigel. We have a special report out of China, which we're going to do a more investigative reporting. 20 million cell phones disappeared from China. So we're confirming that. We don't have all the details yet, but we will. We have a guy on the ground in China.
I heard 20 million dogs disappeared too.
Those wet markets are disgusting.
Oh my God. I saw something the other day on Facebook. I was just like disgusted with what those people
I saw that
eat.
too. I had nightmares about that.
With all those dogs, and it was just, oh my God. Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
All right. Well, we're going to investigate that story. We'll have a report on it next week. And that wraps up. Thank you, Mr. Producer, Bobby, the great CEO.
Thank you for
of Strong
inviting
Island
me.
Radio. We get the top people on the show, people.
That's it.
People on the radio. That's why we're the #1 show on this network, on this day, and in this time slot. And no other show even comes close.
No.
Thanks for listening.